How did you prepare for this role? This is a little different than what you've done before.
It was. I mean, it's, I play a law enforcement deputy, as a deputy in a sheriff's department. But he's pretty green in his career, so he's a young family man. His family, 2 young kids at home. So I think that was mostly what I thought about in preparation for this role, because I don't have any kids myself. I'm a family man, but I don't have a family of my own. And so it was a lot of meditations on that, and thoughtfulness on how family is conveyed in the movie, and then all the other stuff, the action, guns and shooting and trying to chase the bad guys. I think that's all comes I guess a little easier to the screen.
Was that a good part for you? Did you enjoy that?
Oh yeah, I loved it. We had some great collaborators on this. It was awesome. I've done I think 4 projects with Nick Holt, and so this is our 4th movie that we've done together. So he's a friend, and love working with that guy. Any opportunity I get, even though we're chasing him in the movie and he's a bad guy. And then Jude was, a great screen partner. He was a really very serious actor, but he doesn't take himself too seriously, and he's always trying to make the person opposite of him better. And I really admire that. And he's a true gentleman and a talent.
You have to have somebody to blame for your life.
Those pamphlets you saw? It's not all. This was in June. A bomb went off at a synagogue in Boise. That's just the beginning.
Beginning of what?
A producer and I, in 2016, 2017, we're sort of doing a lot of research into domestic terror groups and the militia movement in America, and we had gotten pretty interested in the story of Timothy McVeigh and his radicalization. And so in researching that story, we found the story of the Order, which was a group that was very inspirational to McVeigh. So we started to focus in on this element of the history of domestic terrorism in the U.S. that was a little lesser known, and it also just sort of blew our mind. The group that the film is about pulled off several of the biggest armored car heists in U.S. history at the time, and we're using that money for really insidious purposes. So we just felt like it had the bones to be a movie that would be engaging, but also speak about something a little bigger.
As a Texan, of course, there's Waco, and this should resonate with you and with all Texans as well. That if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah, that's right. That's no truer words have been spoken. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It was. I think I think the movie feels like a movie that was, used to be made in the 70s or 80s, and the kind of film that made guys like me want to go out and have a film career, and so it felt good, that you were returning to something that embodied, those kind of films, but it's also provocative in the sense that it is about extremism to a certain extent, and I think makes us ask questions about our contemporary society and certain extreme groups.
You know what my problem is with every fanatic?
You have to have somebody to blame for your life.
The Ellenberg murder just struck me to the pit of my stomach, and I'm sure that anybody else in media responds to that episode as well.
Yeah, it was a terrifyingly violent and shocking event, and I think those events have become more prevalent, I would say. That sort of barrier between the media and journalism and people coming after them personally for the views they're espousing, I think has gotten more dangerous. And I had a bit of a personal connect. My wife is from Denver and from the Jewish community there, and her family knew Alan personally, and so was always sort of aware of how big and shocking that event was, but I didn't know the details until we really started researching this.